Okay, folks, remember to raise your hand so we can get a microphone to you, and identify yourself and your media agency when you ask a question. So let's get moving. Raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you right away. Let's go right here in the front on the left.
Riley Gates with GoPowerCat.com. Kevin, a lot of people are saying that you guys have the easiest path to the Final Four potentially ever, and that you're really not going to be challenged all that much to get there. How do you keep your guys focused and keyed in and take every team seriously with people saying that?
I don't think we've had an easy path. Every game you got to be able to come out and fight. You see a lot of upsets, so there's a lot of teams coming out trying to knock you off. So I think every game we got to come out and fight for 40 minutes. I don't think we've had an easy path at all so far. Some top seeds got knocked out, but we're not focused about that. We're just focused about us and just making sure that we go and fight and just play to win.
Right here in the middle of the room.
Jermaine Franklin with TSN. Shea, can you talk a little bit about your growth and development from the start of the season all the way up until now?
The beginning of the season, I faced a lot of adversity, working as hard as I am. It was a lot on my body, but the transition hasn't been too hard. I've just continued to work at it, and try to do what Coach is asking of me, and it's paid off.
And just
Go ahead.
Just to follow up, did you know that it was in you this early? Did you expect to be this dominant at this point in your college career?
I know what I'm capable of, and I know that if I work hard and work as hard as I have, that good things will happen and things like this will. And I just try to take advantage of the situation.
On the right.
Tom Martin with KCTV. This is for Shea. It seems like, Barry Brown consistently this year has made it a point to shut down opposing point guards. Trae Young was one of them. He had a tough time against him. What challenge do you see facing him as a defender?
They're really physical. All their guards are really, really strong opposing guards. They like to get after it, but I've seen a lot of defenses this year, and I'll be ready for the challenge.
On the right side, fourth row.
Ashley Herman, junior reporter for Last Word on Sports. This is for Kevin. What is the team's confidence level as of now? Is it like a jovial atmosphere in the locker room? If not, how would you describe it?
I think our confidence right now is as high as it's been all season. We had a really great SEC tournament. We have some momentum coming into this NCAA tournament. I think we're playing our best basketball. Everyone's just picking each other up in the locker room, just getting after it in practice, really focusing on the game plan and the walkthroughs. And I think right now we're doing a really good job of just sticking together and playing together on both ends of the basketball court.
Raise your hand so we can get a microphone to you. Let's go right here, fourth row on the left.
Hi, Hami. John Huang, NOLA Media. Word has it that almost the entire state of Kentucky will be coming down here to watch you guys play. Throughout the year, how have you felt the weight of expectations of Big Blue Nation on your shoulders, and how good does it feel to have them rally around you now?
It's definitely a lot of weight on our shoulders, but it's just another game is how we see it, and we're going to have a lot of fans here, so it will be to our advantage, but we still got to come out and play Kentucky basketball.
Let's go over here on the right, and then we'll go to the left. Sorry.
This is for Kevin. The challenge of not knowing if you're going to get Dean Wade on the floor or not, what have you seen from them without him? And then if you have to prepare for him, what kind of challenge would that be?
We know he's a really good player. He really knocked down the shot, really scored in the mid-range, but us not knowing if he's going to play or not, we're just really focusing on us. We don't really care if he plays or not. We're just going to go out and do what we do defensively and offensively. Hopefully it plays so they have no excuse, but we're just going to go out and just play our best basketball.
Left side.
Myron Metcalf, ESPN. Kevin, when Shea is playing the way that he's been playing the last few weeks, how does that affect the confidence of this team overall?
He's playing his best basketball, and he's kind of the key to the team. He has the ball in his hands. He makes the right plays, and he's grown so much over the season with his decision-making. He does a really good job of getting in the lane. If you want to collapse, you can pass it out to me, Hami, Shea, Quade. So we got a lot of guys that can really knock down the shot, but he's playing his best basketball. He's getting to the basket, making the right decisions, and he's just doing what we need him to do.
In the back on the left.
Marcus Hamilton, CBS 46 here in Atlanta. Guys, talk about when you were in the middle of your losing streak and how you guys had to come together as a team and gel together as a team to quiet the noise, and what you think you did well to get yourself to the team's level of confidence where you are right now.
Is that for all of us?
Who was that for? All right, Hami, why don't you start?
I mean, I would say we just try to stick with each other as much as possible. I mean, we all been through adversity this season, and we all know what it feels like. So when we lost 4 in a row, we know many people had turned against us, and many people had counted us out. So it was a little bit of fuel and a little bit of motivation, and we just ran with it, and we just keep trying to listen to the coaches and keep trying to do what we got to do on the court.
Raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you for a question. Who has one? In the back again, on the left.
Nubias Wilborn, Squatter News. For Scal, what's been the biggest, Scal, I'm sorry.
Who's it for?
Shay, I'm so sorry. I said, just thinking something totally. My apologies, man. I'm sorry. But anyway, for you, what's been the biggest upgrade for you throughout the season? Came in with the high expectations. Some things kind of had some adversity, but then now you're kind of back on course. How you kind of got it back together?
I think we've worked really hard since the 4-game losing streak and losing some close and tough games. We just try to work as hard as possible and do what coach is asking of us and really try to play for each other. And when we do those things, we're special.
Toward the back on the right.
Tucker Toole, Maroon Tiger Media Group. Guys, Shad, did you guys think that the adversity that you went through at the beginning of the season helped you all get to the point where you all are now, you know, with the games and playing in the tournament, getting to the Sweet 16?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like if we don't go through that adversity and that 4-game losing streak, we're not as good as we are right now. And I don't think we would have won the SEC tournament. Going through adversity teaches you a lot. We learn from it. We learned from it across the board, all 12 of us, and yeah, we all got better.
Got time for one more? Somebody raise their hand, we'll get a microphone to you. On the right, toward the back.
Jonathan Adams, Heavy.com. Just for any three of you, how do you balance the personal aspirations? I'm sure you guys have aspirations to play professionally eventually. How do you balance those aspirations with your team goals for the season?
Who was that for?
I mean, I think coaches give us roles, and we just trying to stick to what we got to do best for the team. Like he says, I mean, no one really cares what the league is telling you to do. You just got to come out and do what you do best, and that's what Coach Cowley sat down with every one of us and told us we didn't do what we need to do for the team, and that's what we've been able to do. And some certain guys' roles are different than others, but we just go out and just do what we got to do best, and that'll help us get to where we want to be.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Okay, let's continue with Kentucky with Coach Calipari. Coach, if you wouldn't mind giving us a couple opening thoughts, and then we'll go to questions.
We're excited to be here, still playing. My challenge is making sure these kids don't drink that poison. That poison being we have an easy road. There are no easy roads in this tournament. If they drink that poison, we'll be done Thursday. If they don't drink the poison, it'll be a dogfight on Thursday. Let's see what happens. Sometimes you wonder why they're trying to paint that picture with my team, probably because they're young and they know they don't know better. But the team's here, veteran coaches, and their teams are all playing well.
Let's go to questions on Mark on the right.
Hey, John, Mark Bradley from Atlanta. This has kind of happened, what's happening now has kind of happened before in 11 and 14, where a team that sort of played itself down the food chain is now rising back up. Is there a Calipari method to how you take it down and then bring it back up at the last minute?
I never take it down. I mean, I'm trying to coach my team to win every game, but what ends up happening with the teams you're talking about, we were just so young that it took time. And you're trying to land the plane before you run out of runway. In 2014, the nose of the plane hit the fence. And we got better, and it kind of clicked in the tournament. And we started playing well in our tournament. They gave us a crazy seed, and we ended up beating a number 1 seed, and then the rest we kind of rolled from. But 11, Brandon Knight, you ready? Missed 6 game winners until the NCAA tournament. And then he started making game winners. Terrence and the guys and Duran, I mean, Darius, I mean, we had a good team then. Josh and the guys that we had on that team and how they played. And this team is totally different from those teams. This team is even more inexperienced. And we went through a stretch of 4 NCAA tournament teams, 3 of them on the road, and we lost all 4. 2 of them we could have easily won. We had leads in the last minute or 2. And we had to learn from it, and they did. We got great kids, good players, just inexperienced.
5th row here toward the left.
It's Chris Leach, Kentucky Colonel. John, do you think Jared Vanderbilt's going to play tomorrow? Do you have any update on his status?
I'm gonna watch him today in the shoot around. You know, he just keeps coming, I can do this. It's hard to play a guy that's going to play 80, 90% in these kind of environments. Just hard. The game is played at a high level. I mean, when you talk Kansas State, they're physical. They play hard. They'll fly, and then if they don't have it, they grind. You know, it's hard walking into a game like that. They lead their league in steals with the way they play, which is, you know, they cover that lane. So my guess is no, but it would be nice to have them there. That, like last game, we had foul trouble. You know, you have that guy there that you could put in would be nice.
4th row on the right.
Hi, Coach. Mark Tracy from the New York Times. I wanted to ask you about a rule change that came into effect this year that might have been one you were in favor of. They extended the coaching box, as you probably know, 10 feet. And, you know, as someone who likes to communicate with the team, has younger teams you want to communicate with, has that changed the way you're able to do business on the court?
Well, let me tell you why it's good. You have all kind of stadium configurations. Some of them, the bench is too far out. Some of them, the last seat, when you stand up, you're out of the box. So this eliminated all that. You know, I mean, again, it gives you more room to get closer to your team. But, you know, I like it, and I think most coaches do. It just, you don't want to step out. You know, in 94 at the Spectrum where they had all those lines, standing there and the guy calls a tee from 90 feet away, you're out of the box, and I really wasn't out of the box, but it looked like it. This eliminates that. Now you know where you are.
We got two here on the left, second row first.
Coach Riley, Riley Gates with GoPowerCat.com. You mentioned that poison in your opening statement. Do you feel like talk like that could give a team like K-State or really any team in the tournament extra motivation to come out against your team?
Well, Buffalo had it, and they used it. I mean, Buffalo talked about, you know, okay, now they're supposed to do this and this. I don't care how the other teams use it. They can use it to their benefit. You can't, you know, the poison is both ways. If they're being down on a team or a player, don't drink it. It's a one-game thing. Just play and be your best. If you think, oh, they got this is going to be easy, you will lose in this tournament. And again, I've done this 20-some years, and even more than that probably, I don't know, but this thing is unpredictable. Who is playing well at the time? It's not like seed. Who cares about seed now? Seeds don't matter. It's who's playing well. And if you're playing well, you advance. If you're not playing well, guess what? You don't advance. So, you know, I'm just trying to teach these guys because they've never been through this. They may be reading this stuff and, oh my gosh. No, don't read it, don't watch it. Just focus on the next game we have, which is a tough one.
Fourth row will stay on the left.
Hi, John. John Huang, NOLA Media. I read the feature article on you in GQ magazine, and the article focused a lot on your Catholic faith. How important is that to you, and what role does it play in your position as head basketball coach at the University of Kentucky?
Well, let me just say, I'm Catholic. My faith is the centerpiece of how I try to treat people, and I'd rather talk about basketball right now than that. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you, and I'm not. But let me put it this way: I'm a sinner, so I don't want anybody to think like I think I'm not. And so, you know, I think my players know my faith. I don't force it on anybody. I don't challenge anybody with it. I live my life the way I live my life.
Toward the back on the right.
Tucker Toole, Maroon Tiger Media Group. Coach, I know you just spoke on seeding and how seeding doesn't really mean much, and I was going to ask you, what does that affect your message to your guys, the 5 seed, and knowing that you guys are the highest left?
Well, here's what I would say. The initial seeding does matter. Like if you're a 1 seed, you have a big advantage over a 2, and a 2 has an advantage over a 3, and a 3 has an advantage over the 4. And what I always say is if you misseed somebody, you make somebody an 8 that should be a 5, you're not doing damage to the 8. It's who is the 8 playing. That team just got damaged. They shouldn't have been playing an 8. They should have been that 8. That's a 5. But after the tournament unfolds, right now, seeds don't matter. We've all advanced. There's 16 of us, and 4 in this region is the only 4 I care about. And really, I only care about Kansas State right now. Where they're seated, who cares? If they come out and play well, do you think I'm thinking about they're an 8 seed or a 7 or a 9, whatever it is? It doesn't matter. This is a basketball game of 2 teams that are still standing, that will fight till the death to win a basketball game. And that's going to happen in every one of these games. And believe me, the other coach isn't talking about seed, and teams got knocked off.
Let's go fourth row here in the middle.
Wes Blankenship, NBC affiliate here in Atlanta. Coach, Georgia hired Tom Crean right up the road from here a few days ago. Just from your coaching perspective, what's Georgia getting with a hire like that, and what's the SEC getting as well?
Well, he's a terrific basketball coach, great guy. Been a friend. I've known him for a long time, and he's got a good job. Georgia's a good job. You know, they've proven it over the years, and I think it'll be great for our league, and it's going to be great for Georgia.
Let's go here on the left, far left.
Coach Ken Seguir, Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Ted Owens said his regards. Talked to him yesterday. I was asking the coaches about their first jobs in coaching and just kind of what they got out of it. And can you tell me a little bit about what you did?
Did Coach Owens tell you about my first job?
He did, yeah. He had a question for you. he has a theory about how you got your bed from Allen Fieldhouse, and I was wondering if you'd address
There's
that.
some stories. I don't have time. I don't like to filibuster. But I was a volunteer assistant, and he watched me work camp, Coach Owens, and he said, I want you to join my staff. And I said, what position? He said, I'd like you to be a volunteer. And I said, well, how much does a volunteer make? And I lived with Dolph Carroll, who was the part-time coach. We didn't have furniture because we had a choice between ESPN or furniture. And we chose ESPN. We sat on pillows. I worked with the Sinclairs and served food. Would you like peas or corn? And I'd serve them, and I'd say, Tad Boyle, let's work on some shooting. And Tad and Dishman and Jeff Dishman and the guy we'd play one-on-one at the time, I was 24, I killed them. Couldn't play me. Turge came later, he was too small. I posted him up. But it was basketball. It was a great time of my life. I met my wife. She worked at the University of Kansas at the time. And no worries, no money, nothing except basketball. And it was a great time. And a true gentleman in Ted Owens. Later, Larry Brown asked me to come back and be on his staff as a part-time assistant. So I kind of moved up the ladder a little bit, but those were great times. Those were great times. I mean, you're just there to help everybody. It's not on you. Like, I'm at Kentucky, it's not really on me. I wear this coat 24/7. There, you're a young guy trying to figure it out. How do I do this? And I just got lucky. Ted Owens and Larry Brown and the guys I worked for, and later went to Pitt with Roy and Paul Evans, and I've been blessed.
Back row in the middle.
Matt Jones, Kentucky Sports Radio.
I'll tell you the bed thing because I couldn't afford a bed, and I'll tell you later. It's one of my sins. I'll tell you what it was. Did you hear the day after? You know the day after the movie? The triage was Allen Fieldhouse. I had no bed. So they had all these cots in Allen Fieldhouse. So Dolph and I were leaving one day, and I saw a double-wide cot. It was that wide. And we went back that night, and I scooped up that cot, and that was my bed. I had to put a piece of plywood underneath it, but that was my bed. That's how I had a bed. It was a great time. Think about that. I slept on a cot for a year, 2 years.
Two more questions. Let's start in the back.
In your recruiting class, Shea Alexander was the only one who was not a McDonald's All-American, and now there are some people projecting he might be the second point guard taken in the draft. Did you see the way he's performed this year when you recruited him this quickly? Did you think he could be as good as he's been?
His length and his size set him apart. Learning to be that point guard. He has a scorer's mentality. Learning to get him to create for others, to lead in a way by how hard you play and how much you are a servant leader for everybody else, to limit turnovers. But what you can't do for a young man like that is put in the time and the work. 7 o'clock workouts, shooting. Best in the weight room that we had. Watch film with the coaches, like drag you in, please watch this with me. Never miss a class, never late for a tutor, and work as hard as anybody I've had in practice. Bring it to the level that he can bring it every day. Try to tell the rest of the team, do you see what's happened for him? And he doesn't play for himself, he plays for the team, but this team needs him to do stuff. Like, we need you to go get some baskets now and then. But I'm proud of him. He's another, the Canadian kids from Trey to Jamal to even Michael and now Shea, they always have a smile on their face. They always want to learn. It's a different mentality when they come in. And I used to say, Jamal would always point to me like if I wasn't smiling when I walked into practice. Smile. So, I've had fun coaching him like I've had fun coaching all these kids.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.